Hello, beautiful people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this video series from. It's me again, Peter. Today, we're going to have some fun building a SCCM lab. So let's get started. Before we begin, I do understand that you know how to build your domain controller and also deploy another Windows server with a SSC and rename it and join it to domain like I actually have it here. So this will be my DC, which is domain controller, and also this is going to be my SCCM. So what I really wanted to do here is to make sure that there's a communication between my SCCM server and also my domain controller server. So let's check before we begin, just to make sure that both of them are actually communicating really well to avoid any technical issue. Okay, that is actually from the domain controller. Looks like everything it's looking fine. So what did I have here? On my domain controller, I have a 100 gig of space where I have 2 gig of RAM, and you can actually tweak this to your taste. Depends on the resources that you have. All we have to make sure is that both of the server can actually communicate to each other. So that is very important. So you can manipulate the amount of disk and amount of memory you allocate for the machine. So on my SCCM server, I have 149 gig of space. So which I'm going to show you right here. So my C drive is actually 100 and the E drive is actually 50. So just in case I want to have the logs to write into this place, that's the reason why I do it that way. But to be honest, it's a lab. You can have everything here as long as you know where things are. So what are we going to be needing? We're going to need the SCCM 2203 installation file. We're going to need SQL Server 2019. We're also going to download the SQL Management Studio. Also, we're going to have the Windows ADK version and also the Windows PE add-on. We're going to need that for this lab. So without being said, I don't have anything downloaded right now, just to show you where to download it and to make sure that we're on the same page. This is a lab, so we're going to put everything into practice. So the first thing that we need to do right here is to go to our to our domain controller to create the Active Directory accounts that we're going to need for this lab. So navigate to your domain controller, go to Tools, come to Active Directory Users and Computers. Actually, before this recording, I actually create an organization unit. But if this is going to be your first time, all you have to do is right click on your domain and new, create organization unit. So you'll be able to name it the way you want and click on OK. So I did that and I have this. Underneath, I've actually created another organization unit called SCCM, where I'm going to create my accounts. So if you want to know a little bit about organization units, I'm going to leave that as an assignment for you with this video. I hope you know what it is, but you can actually do some research about it so you know what is used for and why do we need it. So let's get started here, creating an account. I have On the users, I actually have this SCCM admin account. How do I create that? Because you need an admin account to manage the SCCM. All I did is just right click on this, copy. I fill up with the SCCM admin and I give it a user login and click on next, give it a password and OK. Why did I did that is because it has all the permissions that I really want for this account. So let's go ahead and check it out. So it's a member of administrator, domain admin, domain user, enterprise admin, group policy creator, and schema admin. So that's what I want. And if you actually click on this, you will see that this admin is a member of everything. So just in case you're wondering. So I'm going to push these accounts to this OU. You're gonna get like a pop-up. I always recommend to read it, but in my case, I read it already. So I'm gonna click yes. So I have my first user created. My second user that I want to create it right here, it's going to be the service agent account. So what I would do is right click, new, user. So I'm going to call this SQL server agents. So the user is going to be SQL server agents. Next. In this video, you'll be able to see why we created this user account, because we're going to need it when we're installing a SQL database. So I'm going to come here that password never expire. Maybe this is not the best practice, but actually it works for this lab. I'm going to click on next, finish. So that will be our second account. The third account we wanted to create is going to be the SCCM network access account. To make things really fast, I'm going to go ahead and create all these accounts, and I'm going to fast forward this video a little bit, or I will create all the account. I just come back when I finish. Thank you for your patience. All right, now that I've finished creating my user's account, I wanted to create the SCCM admin groups. So instead of creating like a user right now, I'm going to right click and create new groups. I'm going to call it SCCM admin group. Okay. So now that we've finished with the account creation, the next thing we wanted to do is add the SCCM admin and also this computer itself to the local administrator group for the configuration server manager. So what we have to do here is to go here and go to, I think it's going to be, okay, no, I don't think this is the one. Sorry about that. I'm actually want to navigate to the, okay, ls as a user management. Okay, MGR, MC. Okay, that's where I'm going. Oh, where am? Okay, apology. I actually need to go over here on the SCCM server. So that is where I wanted to go. So we're going to go to groups and we're going to come to the admin groups. We want to add the SCCM admin that we created over here. This one, since this is actually domain join, we should be able to see it here. So you remember what I did? I just go here, I type lusrmgr.msc is mgr.msc, and that's how I get here. So I come over here with the admin group and I double click on it. So I click on add. I'm going to look for that SCCM admin. So there we go. Okay. Now, since we wanted to add a computer object, we are going to look at this space. We click on the object type and we make sure that computer is actually included. So I'm going to check for the name of this server, which is this one, SCCM, and check names. So please remember that the first one we did is the user. Now you see that we have the computer object. We're going to select that and we're going to click on OK. OK, apply, OK. And that's it. So going to our next step, which is going to be to create the system management container and delegate of permission. So what we need to do here is go back to the domain controller. We're going to, let me just minimize this. So we're going to go to the search and we're going to search for ADSI edit. Please, whenever you come over here, be very careful unless you know what you're doing. Please don't come here, and because once you come here, you might be able to, any mistake right here, it's going to mess up the domain controller. Let me put it that way. You can have a read if you have some time. If not, all you have to do is right click, connect to, make sure these are just in default and click on OK. So double click here, double click. Now where we wanted to come is the system. We're going to right click on it, new, object. We're going to go to container, next. So we're going to carefully type system management as a value. Please do not make a mistake. You can actually type it on the notepad and paste it there. Right now I'm going to system management. I think I have it right. So management. All right. So next, finish. So what else does is that, let me make this bigger a little bit. So we can see right here that we have the container and everything is looking good. So let's go back to our server manager, come over here, tools, Active Directory users and computer. I'm going to make that also big a little bit so we can see it well. So we're going to go to view, advanced features. Now we're coming to the system again and check the system management that we created earlier. So all we have to do is right click on it because now we wanted to delegate control. We click on that. Next. Now we wanted to add this computer, which is the SCCM computer. Please remember right here, we don't have the object type. So we need to click on object type. Make sure that we select computer. Let me show you what happened when you did this. If you click on check name, we will see that we don't have that computer object right here. We only have users and groups. So that's the reason why we wanted to make sure this is actually check names, and we can select the SCCM server. Remember, we are on the domain controller doing this. So we click on OK, we go to next. Right here, we're going to create a custom tags to delegate. We'll click on next. Here, we don't change anything. We click on next. Now, this is where the form path comes in. We wanted to select everything right here and full control for these accounts. Next. Look at it. I have everything checked. So next and finish. So once we finish that, it's done. You can actually go back to the view, uncheck the advanced features so that you can have the number you can have the number tab that you normally see without any additional stuff. We can close that off here, and we wanted to actually extend the Active Directory. Our next step is to extend the Active Directory for SCCM. So how are we going to do that? We go to the browser. Actually, you can download the SCCM 2203. Let me see if this is the right link. Okay, yeah, it's the right link. So just go ahead and download this guy. It says it's gonna take 2 minutes, so I might be able to fast forward this, but why don't let me do that. So why is actually downloading depends on the speed of the internet. You can check what is happening right here. Okay, you can use this, you can register. You can use the evaluation version for 180 days, which I think is enough. You can also receive some emails regarding the resources guide to guide you through your evaluation. Okay. You can go to the product resources. You can go to the community. Let me check out this. Microsoft actually have a lot of beautiful resources about Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager, which is the documents. If you wanted to learn more about this, all you have to do is to navigate to learn.microsoft.com/en-us-mem-config manager, and you get to this page. Wow, that's beautiful, you know. In this video series, after this video, we're going to start going through all of this, you know, practicing and giving it a go, learning more about this robust technology. And by practicing, you know. So that's what I do, and that's the reason why I'm making this video. I'm actually doing it as you are doing it. So now we have a configuration manager downloaded. This is how it is. I'm going to go ahead and open it, extract. But before I do that, I wanted to make sure that I put this in a folder that I want to extract to. So most of the time what I did is that I just put in / and I put MECM -22, okay, 2203, and I click on run unzip. So that is gonna go for like maybe less than 1 minute, depends on the resources that you have in your environment. I'm referring to your hardware. So let's wait a little bit while this is doing its thing. So actually, I think I put it on the desktop, if I'm not mistaken. So let me minimize all this. I'm going to close it. Remember, we're on the domain controller. So let me zip my tea right now. All right, it's done. So all we have to do is to browse to the location that this is actually downloaded. So it's going to be on our C drive. So let's go to our C drive. Okay, there we go. So we want to open this and go to the setup, come to bin 64, and we want to look into xstat.sch. Okay, all I do is just click on highlight any folder and press E. So when I get to E, this is what we are looking for right here. Two ways you can actually do this. It's right click, run as an admin. Yes. And that should actually create the extension for us. I mean, like extended the Active Directory schema. Let's see if that is done. We go to our C drive. We come over here and it said it's successful. So that is all about it right there. So we close it out, close this one out. So we are done on the domain controller right there. So the next step that we are going to do right now is to configure the firewall. The reason why we wanted to do this is to make sure that during our installation of the database, we actually have the right communication ports open, so we don't have any issue. So we navigate back to our SCCM server. Let me close this out. We don't need it anymore. And I'm going to minimize this. So I just type WF MSC, which is going to be for Windows Defender Firewall. I wanted to, let me make this bigger a little bit. I want to right click on the inbound rules, create a new rule, and select the ports. Next. So the port that I really wanted to specify here is going to be 1433 and 4022. Next. So I'm going to click allow. Then I wanted to do it from the domain. I don't want the private or public. Next. Then I want to give it a name. So you can call it SQL ports for config mgr for config manager. Finished. So that is all we have to do right here. Our next step is going to be to install the web server IIS roles and other features. So let's close this out and we go to our server manager. All we have to do is go to manage, add roles and feature. I know that this is actually taking too long, but I'm very proud of you that you are following these with me on your lab also. So let me minimize this so that we can actually we can have a I can't minimize that. Okay. So let's have this one ready. So I click on next, and let's make sure that we're actually on the server for SCCM. Next. Now we wanted to scroll down and find this one, the web server IIS. We click on it, we add features. So once we do that, we also need to install additional roles. So right now I'm looking for the remote differential compression. So I'm going to click on next. That is where I'm going to see that role. Remote differential compression. This one. This is another one we wanted to install. So I'm going to come down again because I'm looking for another role. Let me see if I have. Okay, let me click on next. Next. So at this location, I think, okay, I wanted to do this one and this one. We're not going to do management services, but we're going to do application development. We're doing security. We already have it. We have the security. We have the application development. We have the performance. We have the health and diagnostics. And we have the common HTTP features. So that's what we need right here. We click on next and we click on install. To be honest, if we need additional role right here, and you can always go to the Microsoft website and you can say configuration manager system requirements. The first one or maybe the second one on your own computer, we actually show you everything that you need to get this up and running. So let's say I'm coming here, system and site prerequisites. So here it's gonna tell you everything that you need to be successful for this installation. So if you want to take your time to go over these, to be honest, that's amazing. So you can actually check. We need to have the .NET version requirements that we need for this, the site server, the site system. Everything that we're actually installing on this server is not new. It's something that is required. So let's go back to installation to see, okay, it's not finished yet. Oh yeah, it's done. Okay, awesome. We can just close that out and we move to the next step. So the next step is actually to install the SQL server. So I'm going to say SQL 2019. We don't want it to go with Express. We don't want to go with business. Either we do developer version of it or we do the standard version of it. Most of the time, I download the enterprise version of SQL Server. So let me see what is this saying. Okay, so try it for free. SQL Server 2019. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm just going to download this one. So it's gonna ask us to fill up some information right here. So I'm gonna pause the video while I fill up some information and I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back now. So I decided to go with the SQL version, the standard version of the SQL. So I just think that that will work fine for me with this tutorial. So I go with the 2019 version. So let's go ahead and start the installation, which is going to be a next step. So what we do here is mount the software, click on setup. Yes. This setup is actually going to be very easy. Well, disclaimer, I'm not a database administrator. I just learned how to install these SQL server. So what we want to do is come to the installation, new. And I saw that I have my product key right there, so I'm going to block it out. So you can use the free edition, which is the evaluation version. But right here, I have a key for this one. So I click on next and I'm going to accept the license terms and agreements. Next. Most of the time, it is recommended to check for updates. Let's see what happened right here. And now the last one is in progress. So there's a lab, so we just need to go through the installation file. So you might want to take some tea or coffee while this is actually running. So I mentioned something in the earlier why this is actually running. The accounts that we create over here, let me make it bigger. These accounts, this is the time that we're going to use it. So while that is running, you might want to go ahead and copy the account's logon name. Just copy it and leave this one doing its thing. So once it's finished, then we'll be able to go to the next step where we need to install the feature selection and continue with the installation. I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back. Okay, everything passed. You know, most of the time we normally get this Windows Firewall warning. It's good if you want to learn more about it. All you have to do is click on it and you can go to this link and see what is going on. So I click on next. Then I'm going to select the database engine services only, and I'm going to click on next. For this lab, I always recommend to leave it in the default instance. Most of the times I see some of my friends actually changing this, but since I don't want to make anything complicated for me, I'm going to click on next and leave it that way. So when we get to the server configuration, this is where the accounts that I mentioned earlier is going to be useful. So I copied that user logon. Apologize for that background noise. We go here, click on it, browse, and I'm going to paste that user check name. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing here. Okay, this you can change it. I'm going to change this from manual to automatic. So to be honest, since I'm not a database administrator right now, maybe in the future I'm going to learn a little bit. We don't need this one, so we're going to click on next. Hero, look at that. Okay, what is going on? It said the credential you provided is invalid. Okay, let's see it again. Why is it invalid? I don't think it's because we open it. SQL SVR agents. All right, so why is it invalid? Let's do it again. Password is invalid. Okay, so this is our first troubleshooting. Let me go ahead and reset the password for this. Actually, I should be prompt. It doesn't match. Actually, I should be prompt to enter my password. So Let's see. As you might get the same. So like I said, this is a lab, so anything can happen. All we have to do is to fix it as we go. Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. Sorry about that. I should have put my password right here. Okay, that is the error. So here, now we should be good. Okay, let's go over it again. I think apologize for that background noise. Okay. You see, now we're good. So what happened is that I just forget to put the password in the column. So that is what happened here. So apologize, guys. So let's go to the next step. Here is where we wanted to make sure that we had the current user, which is our admin. And if you have an additional admin account that you really wanted to use to manage the database, you can add it here also. But for now, I'm good with the one that I have. I'm going to click on next. And if everything looks good for you, should I make this bigger, but it's all right. Just click on install. This is going to take a while, so let me zip my tea and I'll be right back. All right, everything looks good right now. So we are almost done. So the next step right here is to install the SQL Server Management Studio. So once we have this, we're going to close, and that should open the SQL. But we're just not going to wait for that. We're going to browse to Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. So we'll click on that. We scroll down a little bit, so we download the, I think this one is okay. If we wanted to download the 19 one, I think it's okay also, but it's in preview. So most of the time, Microsoft don't recommend us to use this in production, but there's a lab, so we're going to go with the 18.12.1. All right, so it shouldn't take that much. It's already in 28 seconds to finish. I know that is a very long video, but this actually takes a while to couple up to make sure that everything is running the way it expected. So I hope that this video is very valuable for you. If you enjoy it, please like, share with your friend, and also subscribe to my channel. Okay, so now that we have it downloaded, we just go ahead and open it, and we click on yes. So we make sure that the location where we want to have this as the right one, we click on install. So this also take a while on its own. So let me go ahead and get my tea, and I'm going to be right back once it's finished. All right, the setup is actually completed. It takes like maybe 5 minutes, depends on your hardware resources. So we're gonna close this one, and let's see what we install. So we can close out this one also. We go to the database and we can open not the installation center, but the configuration manager. And also we can go to the database SQL Server management itself. Here, we wanted to make sure that maybe not to enable this one, to be honest, but I think we should be good on that based on everything that we manage. I mean, that we set up. So this one, we just click on connect. What we are interested in doing is to configure the SQL Server memory allocation. I'm going to right click on this, click on properties, navigate to memory, and actually most of the time maybe it's not good to leave this as a default, but for the sake of this video and for the memory that you have, I'm going to use 20, 48, and 4096. Click on OK. And that is all we have to do for this. We don't need to do anything unless you really want to check your database or security just to make sure that your login are really intact. But besides that, nothing else is needed. Go to server role. We already have as a system admin and also public. So that's all we need right there. I'm going to go ahead and close it. Most of the time it's required or necessary to restart your server because we have done a lot of stuff right here and we have installed a lot of role without actually restarting this server. So we're going to do that right now, which is what we're doing. Actually, it doesn't take that much to come back up. Let's wait a little bit. All right, now that we are back, let's punch in our password. All right. The next step is actually to install the Windows ADK. So that takes a while also. What we need to do is to navigate to the web, your favorite browser, and type Windows ADK. I mean, you can put 11 now. What we are interested in doing right here is to make sure we get to this page, and we're going to download the first one, also the second one. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to first download the first one, which is pretty fast. I'm going to open it. So I click on next. This is a lab. I don't want them to collect any insight for this one. Next, accept. So here, I'm going to let us know what we need. We only need this for right here, the development tools, image and configuration designer, user states, migration to. The rest, we don't need it. We're just gonna click on install. So it takes a while. I will leave this running while I take some tea, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to fast forward it and I'll be right back. All right, so it's done, so we close it. We're going to download the PE add-on, which is the second one. Click on open. We just make sure that we install the assessment pre-installation environment add-on. Next, accept. So this is only one, so this might take a while. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to try to relax because I understand that this video has taken a lot of our time, and approximately this is what you might spend while building this lab. So I'm going to let you enjoy the music while I fast forward the video for you a little bit, and I'll be right back. All right, so I was actually drinking my tea, so forget that, it's done. Okay, let's go ahead and close right now. So what our next step is going to be, we can close this out. We don't need it anymore. Is to install the Windows Server update services. So let's fire up Server Manager. We click on Add Roles. Next, next, next. And what we wanted to do here is to scroll down a little bit and get this up. So we could add features and we click on next. Next. Okay, so right here in the role services, we just need to uncheck this and put this in. We go again. And this path, most of the time, I use my, if you have like a remote path, it's okay. I use my C drive. Next. Okay, I think, okay, I was like, okay, maybe I made a mistake right here. So, next, I'm going to put SCCM.webworker.local. Make sure I check the connection, everything is successful, and click on next, and that's it, install. It shouldn't take that much though, but hey, most of what we're doing right here is installation, so keep enjoying the music. All right, it's done. So let's launch the post installation task. So it says, please wait while your server is being configured. So if we did everything correctly, we should get the success message. Sure, why not? We can wait. All right, keep enjoying the music while we have this configured. All right, look at that. Configuration successfully completed. That's what we're looking for. That's really nice. Okay, so we close out on this one. We wanted to verify something on the database just to make sure that everything is working fine. We wanted to make sure that the SU as database is actually created under the SQL server. Let's see, did I actually launch the right one? Yes, I did. So let's wait for it. Okay, if we are able to see that, that means that we have done everything right. So we go ahead and connect. We have done everything right. There you go. Look at that. So everything is going on well. Now let's bring our big boy in. Remember, we have actually downloaded this big boy almost at the beginning of this video. So what I'm doing right now is to navigate to Oh, come on. So all I'm doing right now is to navigate to my domain controller, go to my C drive, and copy the big boy and copy it to my... Okay, look at that. I can't even copy. Okay, let me actually move it to the desktop. Now let me copy from the desktop. Let me copy it here. Oh, I cannot do that. Okay, not a problem. Not a problem. So one thing I just do over here is that not to waste our time, I go ahead and do SCCM 2203 download. So right here, I have it in the evaluation center. I'll click on download, and the big boy is just gonna download. It takes like 2 to 3 minutes, just in case you're not able to copy it like me. So let's enjoy the music and sip our tea or coffee while this is actually downloading. All right, so we have it downloaded. So we're just going to do the same like we did at the beginning of this video. We're going to run, and it's going to ask us where do we want to put it. We want to put it in our C drive. So we're going to call it MECM 2203. We unzip. So that's everything we have to do since we cannot copy. Well, I really need to fix that. I was actually thinking that I'll be able to copy from my domain controller, but hey, it's a lab environment, so anything happens, I think I need to fix some stuff in order for me to have that kind of permission. But it's all right. Let's see what we have here. Okay, the big boy is about to finish. Awesome. So I'm going to browse to, let's say, go to my C drive, click on it. Here I have it. So I'm going to do the splash to run it and start the configuration. It's very easy once we get all the configuration right. So I'm going to click on install. Okay, look at that. Setup is going to require the framework. Okay. So it looks like we don't have this framework. So most of the time, what I do is go ahead and add the roles and features. Click on next, next, next. There we go again. Look at that. I mean, I'm not closing it. I just minimize it. So I'm gonna go to next. So this is the one that we need to install. So it looks like I actually forget about it during my first installation of the IIS. So but there's no problem. So we can install it now. Let's remember that we're always on the configuration manager server, so your SCCM or MECM. Actually, the installation of the framework does not take that much time, and most of the time you don't need to go to the Microsoft website to download it. Since you're already on the server, you can do that from the manage and add role features. So let's see where we are going here. It shouldn't take that long. All right, it's finished. So we can close that and we're going to try our installation again. So we should be good right now. Look at that. Yeah, we're good. So we click on next. So we wanted to have this checked. Next. And so when you select, you use the type of installation option. A standalone primary site is installed. You can expand this site into a hierarchy at a later time by installing a central administration site. Do you want to continue? I say yes. So I'm going to use the evaluation version and click on next. I'm going to accept all the terms and license terms. Next. Here is asking us where we wanted to put this. Most of the time I just go ahead and do the C drive again slash. I'm just going to say I'm just going to say, since we're already on the SCCM, I'm just going to put Prerequisites. Does not exist. Wow. Okay, let me just browse, make life easier, create a new file, and just put Prerequisites. Oh, that is easier. Next. So it's going to download the file. It's going to be like 49 files. So it might take like maybe 2 to 3 minutes. So with the power of the video editor, I'm going to fast forward this a little bit while we enjoy the music. I'll be right back. All right. So it's actually verifying the download of prerequisite components 49 of 49. So which is actually good. So we're just waiting. We're just waiting. So once this is done, yes, it's done. So we wanted to specify the site code. So since I'm web worker, I'm just gonna put web worker HQ. Maybe I want to call it a web worker MECM. You will be able to call it anything that you want. So install the configuration manager console. Next. So this is good because we have our server right here. So everything is looking fine. So this is a prerequisite check page or console, if I call it. This is actually going to check to make sure that everything that it's needed to install these configuration manager, everything is met. So if we did everything right, we shouldn't have any problem here. You can see that. Wow, we've done a great job. Here is about the minimum requirement for the SQL server. Since this is a lab, so we're just going to overlook that for now and we begin to install. This installation actually takes a while. Once I click on begin, in this to actually make this video shorter here, I will leave the installation to keep running, but I'm going to fast forward it just in case you are doing your own lab or you just wanted to watch the process going. So once it's done, I'll be right back. All right, look at that installation actually almost completed. Oh yeah, it's completed. Wow, that's amazing. It takes like 23 minutes and 7 seconds to complete. So right now I'm going to click on closed. and that's it. I'm going to exit. Like I mentioned, most of the time it's very good for us to restart our system after all this kind of installation. So this is not going to take a while. Wow, if you made it to this part of the installation, you're actually doing great. I really appreciate you, to be honest. It takes almost like 1 to 2 hours, depends on how the hardware that you have to be able to complete all this process for the day. But I think it's actually worth it to have a SCCM lab. Wow, what's going on? Up and running. So let's bring up the big boy. I'm very excited right now that we are able to complete this installation. Look at that. So we click on the manager, configuration manager console. And let's see what we have here. Look at that, connecting to site database. Wow. Everything should work. Everything should work. Everything should work. Oh, Peter, patience. Look at that. We have a MECM up and running. Look at that. We have a site, the WHQ, web worker, the evaluation license. We have an overview. We can go to our software libraries. We can go to the monitoring, administration, which we're going to be spending much of our time later in the future, update and servicing. Now, this is amazing. It's blessed. We already have our configuration manager all set up and running. If you make it up to this way, I really wanted to thank you. Congratulations. I really want to thank you that you made it up here. And if you find this video valuable, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends so that they can learn something. It's lab. We're going to be doing a lot of great things inside this machine in the future, where we're going to take a look at what all these things means and how we can actually learn it. I'm learning with you. We're learning together, and we're going to become a champ one day. Believe me, we're going to be super engineer and we're going to know all of these things. And the only way we can do that is by learning and playing around with the software to see what we can do with it. And with that being said, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. I hope this video has been actually informative for you. Take care, repeat it again, and do it again. That's the way we learn. Take care, have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and I'm going to see you on my next video. Blessed. Bye bye for now.